Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And we do full-length car reviews each and every week. You subscribe, right? So you already know that halfway through we stop for a segment called Questions, Coffee, and Cars. We've spun it off. We're at number 132, right?
Yeah.
How do you get a question in?
Follow along on Instagram at Motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning I put a post out asking for questions. Once we gather our questions, the post is deleted and we start the show.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Love the show. Thank you. If backseat space is not an issue, would you recommend the Lexus UX or go for the Toyota Crown Signia? I know what Zach's going to say already. I already know.
Well, listen, there's a massive difference in price. The UX is way better value. I'm going to shock you here, Andrea.
Oh my
If you don't need the rear seat space, you have a small subcompact crossover with a small cargo area. But because you don't use the back seat, you could fold the seats down and actually have not a bad little rig for going to Costco and doing that sort of stuff.
Wow.
But it's way cheaper. The Crown Signia is expensive. I like the Crown Signia a lot, but it's spendy, man.
So the Crown Signia starts at around 60,000 Canadian, and you can get a well-equipped UX luxury model for 52,000 Canadian.
See? I don't hate the UX that much.
I don't know. You're not that friendly when it comes to the UX.
Because
anyway,
I always say to people, if you need the back seat, look elsewhere. But they specifically said they don't need the back seat.
I would totally go UX. Not only is it kind of a fun little runaround vehicle, it's a crossover, and you get great fuel economy. That's the one I would go for.
And the back seats fold down for more cargo space.
So hello, love your content. Thank you. What vehicle would you recommend between the Mercedes GLA 250 and the BMW X1? You know, it's interesting because I was never really excited about the GLA until we recently drove one. And then I couldn't believe how fun it was. It's quite engaging and dynamic to drive, as is the X1.
Oh.
So if I hadn't driven the GLA again, I would have definitely picked the X1. But now, because of the X1 interior, the new BMW interior, I might just go for the GLA.
Well, our GLA review, it just went out in the last few months, and we actually said, can you spot the difference? Because it's really hard to notice the difference to it. It's a carried over model, and we've seen this trend a lot from Mercedes-Benz. Like the C-Class looks so much like the last C-Class. The GLC looks like the last GLC, and this GLA is sort of carried over. But the plus side of that, Andrea, is you get the cool looking interior with the MBUX interface that I still think is one of the best Mercedes ever done. They've gone to this new everything in a touchscreen. That car doesn't have it. I prefer the one that's in that. So I'm with you. Based on the interior and the fun factor, I'd say GLA.
Yeah, it's really good. Hi both. What news can you give us on the release of the 2025 4Runner, and in particular the new Platinum trim and its features?
Well,
So
there
do
is
you
going
wanna
to be an event sometime in the new year. We're not sure when exactly, but we've heard rumors that there's going to be a drive event sometime in the new year. So then typically the on-sale release date would be within a month or so?
Shortly after that. So I'm thinking maybe end of February, March, possibly. So this is what we know about the Platinum model. Not a ton of information. Obviously no pricing yet on that 4Runner. The Platinum is new, that trim to the 4Runner. The current model doesn't have that. It slots above the Limited model, and it's your more luxury type trim. So that's going to get you some extra features like heated rear seats, a head-up display, a tow tech package, and it has black exterior elements. But the biggest thing is that it only comes with the iForce Max hybrid powertrain, 326 horsepower and 465
Which is the one you want anyway.
torque.
That's the one you want.
I don't know what that's going to be priced at. I'm afraid for the price.
I got a good idea what the price is going to be right up the backside of the Land Cruiser. So if you're not aware, Land Cruiser, Tacoma, and the 4Runner are all built off the same platform, shared engines and powertrains like the iForce Max is going to be available. But I think it's going to be very, very close to that. I think when you get up to that Platinum version, you're talking Land Cruiser money.
So you could always look towards Tacoma and those top trims to kind of get an idea on pricing. Also, there is an available 14-inch touchscreen and a 12.3-inch digital driver display. I can only assume that Platinum model is going to get the larger screens. I'm sure it's going to look pretty great.
Okay, so the way the chief engineer explained the 4Runner to us, everything from the B-pillar forward is Tacoma, and everything from the B-pillar back was done for 4Runner. And they basically melded the two vehicles together. Shared platforms, shared engines, all of that kind of stuff. And back to the point Andrew just mentioned, the top trims of 4Runner, I'm going to use Canadian dollars because it's shocking. It sounds...
Tacoma, you mean?
Tacoma in Canada is like up the top trims, that Trail Hunter thing is like around 90 Gs, right? So you can imagine that this thing is going to be that spendy. And I don't know. I don't know about their pricing strategy at Toyota. I think they're pricing a lot of people out of the market.
Yeah. Hi, guys.
But we've seen a ton of them already on the road here. The Land Cruiser.
Oh, so many Land Cruiser. And you know what else? GX. Seeing a lot of GX on the road as well. And it looks great. But yeah, a lot of Land Cruisers. So I don't really think that money is a factor here for some people.
Well, it is for some people.
No, but I'm just saying the ones that have it. It seems some other car companies borrow the hybrid from Toyota. Why is that? Well, you can see that with the new CX-50 hybrid that has just come out. That has the Toyota hybrid powertrain, but also the Toyota 2.5-liter four-cylinder. We also see that Subaru is going to be using the Toyota hybrid system, but their own Boxer engine.
Yeah, so what they did with the CX-50, it was a plug and play. They basically took the engine out of the RAV4 and the drivetrain, battery, everything, and plugged it into their product. Subaru has a totally different situation because they have their symmetrical all-wheel drive. So with a Toyota hybrid system, there was nothing connecting the front engine and the rear wheels. There's no drive shaft. There's a separate little electric motor at the back. Subaru is going to have a drive shaft between the front and the rear. If they're going to have e-assist in the back axle, I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see how they do it. So they're not plug and playing it, they're modifying it.
And we spoke to the president of Subaru Canada, and he was saying they really wanted to use their own engine. It's a Subaru engine. It's their Boxer engine. So
plus, it might not fit either.
That's what he said. It's more challenging to figure out this powertrain for them, even though they are using the Toyota hybrid system. It's not going to be made up the same. And we also heard from Mazda that they're coming up with their own hybrid powertrain. So they're working on that, and they have their own plug-in hybrid powertrain at this time. But for now, it's kind of nice to see Toyota and Mazda and Subaru sharing the hybrid powertrain, because it really is tested, tried, and true.
So I think your question was why, and Toyota has partial ownership in Subaru and partial ownership in Mazda, and that's why they're able to share. And they do need to share costs because these things are so expensive to do.
And you can even see it with some of their EVs as well. You've got the BZ4X for Toyota, and it's based on the same platform as the Subaru model, the Solterra, and then you've got the Lexus RZ or RZ. So a lot of sharing there, even with pure electric vehicles. Do you think the new tariffs in Canada will be extended to gasoline, PHEV cars imported from China?
I think PHEVs would probably get whacked. Right now it's just EVs, 100% tariff. It's actually over 100%, it's 106. Because they already had a 6.1% duty anyway. So they've added 100%, so it brings it up to 106 for EVs. I don't think it's going to affect ICE right now. That's not the main concern.
Definitely not the main concern, but I have been asked a lot about this, especially with the new Lincoln Nautilus. One viewer couldn't find it on the website and was concerned that it was taken off. I did find it for her, so it was fine. But I can't see them moving into that. I mean, even the Nautilus, I mean, it's not priced so inexpensively that that would cause an alarm to other manufacturers here in North America. But with EVs, I think it's specifically because they don't want Chinese brands coming into the North American market at an affordable price point, really, right?
You know we love coffee, right? Here on the show. And Zork this morning was sitting drinking another coffee, not this one, the early morning coffee, and I was on Automotive News. And I was reading Automotive News, and Automotive News highlighted Lincoln as a bright spot in terms of sales.
Yeah.
They've had a nice little spike in terms of sales, and a lot of it falls on that Nautilus. And so they have something there. They have unique design, unique interior, a hybrid luxury product, and it's only Lexus that offers one other than them. So good for them.
Yeah, I hope they take that powertrain and they continue it on to more vehicles, because we actually think that that hybrid powertrain is really great.
Smooth,
They've
quiet.
done such a nice job with it. Some relatives of mine are looking to get a new vehicle. The Mercedes GL 450 they have is too big, tall for their needs, but the Audi A4 they have is too small. Would you suggest the A6 Allroad or the Mercedes E-Class Wagon for their needs? I like the Allroad from Audi a lot. That E-Class Wagon is not sold in Canada, but it is sold in the US, and frankly, it really does look excellent. I mean, I saw it online. And they call it the all-terrain, I think.
I can't remember what it is. It's basically been outbacked. They lifted it a little bit. They put cladding on it, which is what I call all of these wagons that have been sort of slightly lifted. I think the long-term prospects of resale value, I think the Mercedes-Benz wagon. Andrew and I were driving out to a suburb to pick up a press car one day, and there was one in front of us, remember?
Yeah.
The guy had it loaded with all of his camping gear and stuff. And I still think that is a cool car. And I think that 10 years from now, when they stop making wagons, and you know they're going to do it, and you know they're going to stop making gas ones, that will be a collectible car.
And there's also the new BMW wagon that's come out with tons of power.
Yeah, the M5. They're coming with the M5.
But you know, I don't know what your budget is. It sounds like you've got a good budget, or your family has a good budget.
I don't think there's a wrong answer for either one of these. I think the A6 is, especially if you get the RS6, it doesn't sound like you're shopping in that end of the market, but I think it's very cool. I personally, okay, let's do a 3-2-1. We haven't done a 3-2-1 so far, Andrea.
Yes.
I can't believe we've gone, 13 or so minutes into this without a 3-2-1, okay? A6 wagon, Mercedes E-Class wagon in 3, 2, 1. Mercedes. There you go.
Do it. It's a good one. I currently daily a 2023 Genesis G70 and love it. However, I've been eyeing a few cars for a second or a replacement, such as the new Lexus RCF, Jaguar FType, or an older Aston Vantage V8. I think I want the character of a V8, but not sure if that is just a feeling or reality. I drove the IS 500 and was disappointed. Also drove an older Maserati GT, and while I liked it, but didn't love it. Nostalgia, advice. You know, we didn't like that IS 500 either. We actually liked the less powerful IS.
So what was the RCF? Is that the car?
Lexus RCF.
What about the
Jaguar F-Type?
Yeah, the F-Type is cool. The V8 is amazing in that car. Do not buy an old Maserati. Do yourself a huge favor and do not get that. I follow a guy, Andrea. You know, Andrea knows I watch these videos. It's M539 Restorations. And he typically fixes up old, as he says, old broken down BMWs. He's got some beautiful cars. And he recently got a Maserati to fix up.
I remember you telling me
And
that.
I think it is the worst mistake he ever made. I think the engine's blown up on him twice. It cost him an absolute bomb. So anyway, do not do the Maserati. And it's just a pain in the ass to get parts for them. The Aston is a cool idea because you basically got a Ford-derived V8. And there's actually quite a few parts for that. And it would be way cheaper. I don't know. You're talking about real maintenance-heavy cars versus a Lexus that's got no maintenance.
Exactly. I think for me, I really like the look of the Jag, but I'd also be prepared for any sort of maintenance issues that Jaguar may have. But I think I'm just, I'm more driven in that direction with that vehicle. I think it's really quite a beautiful looking vehicle, and I think I would get it in red.
You know what you could also do is you could look for an AMG car, a V8 AMG car, because there was lots of those sold until recently, and they make a sound and they go like stink, and there's a lot of AMG V8s rolling around. So put that on the list as well.
You guys are the best. Thank you. Kia Niro Hybrid versus Mazda CX-50 Hybrid. 3, to
Wait a second. What? You're going too fast. You're going too fast for me.
Kia Niro hybrid or the new CX-50
That's not even a fair fight,
hybrid.
Andrea. That's not a fair fight.
Well, that's what they're asking.
All right.
That's what
so
they're looking at.
Okay,
3, 2, 1,
CX-50,
Mazda.
yeah, for sure. The Niro
100%.
the Niro falls in the cheap and cheerful category. Good A to B transportation. You're not getting there in a hurry. You could actually get out and run faster. It's kind of underpowered, but man, does it deliver the fuel economy. Andrea, we were blown away with the fuel economy of the Niro, but the CX-50 is a whole different thing.
Yeah, and the rear seat in the Niro is quite comfortable and spacious, but I still really like the CX-50, and this video is coming out before we can give driving impressions of the CX-50 hybrid, so you have to wait on that. November 12th is when that video drops for driving impressions. But
if it's all about price point, Niro all day. If it's not about price point, CX-50 all day.
yeah, but it's still a good price, the CX-50. Just get the base model. In Canada, it's loaded with features. 321 front-wheel drive in Ontario, Chevy Trailblazer, Kia Soul, or Kia Seltos.
Seltos, okay. Seltos?
Soul. Or Trailblazer.
Jeez.
I know. Not the Trax, the Trailblazer.
See, I was gonna, okay, ready?
No.
3, 2, 1. Chevy
Seltos.
Trax.
He didn't say Trax, he said Trailblazer.
But I'm gonna say, if you're gonna get a Trailblazer that's front-wheel drive, just get the Trax.
I'm gonna go Seltos.
Yeah, you get a lot of stuff.
Get a lot of value in the Seltos.
You get more value in the Chevy. Chevy Trax all day long. It's
He's
the trail.
not asking Trax. He's asking Trailblazer.
But it's basically the same platform, but it's sold as a Trax, and it's front-wheel drive only, and it's cheap as chips.
I don't know. I'm still saying Seltos. I'm standing behind Seltos. The Trailblazer has that 1.3 liter
turbo 3-cylinder.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
It's
but
got great torque.
I think I'll just go for the 2 liter in the Seltos.
And a CVT. Okay, ready? What's the next one?
Yes, I finally caught your post. Hello from North Carolina. I love your choice and never miss an episode. I have a 2020 Nissan Altima SR and want to upgrade to an SUV, subcompact, or compact that will give me the feel of driving a sedan. I can't decide on whether to get a hybrid, PHEV, or electric. I mostly drive in the city. Should I go with a hybrid or PHEV now and wait on a fully electric vehicle? What would you suggest if you had a budget of $40,000 to $50,000 US. Also need to be able to fit a car seat for my nephew. Thanks for your insight.
Well, now the world is your oyster now. You got a good budget, very good budget. And so you could go full EV. You could get like an ID4 or something like that.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking this. Okay, so subcompact, there aren't a lot of hybrids. So you could go with a Corolla Cross hybrid, which will definitely fit your nephew's car seat in the rear. Priced pretty well, and great fuel economy. If you move into the compact class, that opens you up to a lot more. You want it to feel more like you're driving a sedan.
I'm hitting a roadblock here, Andrew, because
the sedan is the feeling of driving like a sedan is tough because you do sit lower to the ground.
Well, you could do a classic crossover like we just talked about the CX-50 a moment ago, which is kind of that classic crossover. Is it an SUV? Is it a wagon? It's kind of in between. The Crown is as well, but that's above your budget.
Above, yeah.
But that's the kind of thing you could get a Chevy Trax.
Get a Chevy Trax, but she wants
No,
a
I get it.
hybrid.
I'm
or
just
PHEV.
joking.
I would check out that CX-50 hybrid. Might be difficult to get initially, but the U.S. is going to be getting more inventory of that than Canada, so you might get really lucky there. I would go to the dealership and talk to them about that one. I'm trying to think of some others. I mean, the Tucson and the Sportage, whether you get the hybrid or plug-in hybrid, they're great, but they're not car-like. They do feel like an SUV. Same with the RAV4. So that's a tricky one. That's a real tricky one. We'll see if any viewers have any suggestions
But if you want to go,
as well.
if you want to go full EV, you're going to have kind of car-like dynamics because the battery is so big and heavy and at the bottom of the car. You've got all that power and torque, and there are some options out there. Like we talked about the Niro a moment ago and the hybrid. You could get Actually, the EV6 from Kia has a very car-like silhouette.
Yeah.
It has a car-like ride. You sit a little bit lower. It's got a big, long back seat. Easy to get a car seat back there.
Yeah.
And as a full EV, that would future-proof yourself, and it's real car-like.
Yes. And make sure if you do go for this, get replacement insurance just in case you have any issues at all with your vehicle, so that you kind of, take care of yourself. The other one you could go with is a Model 3 from Tesla. It feels like you're driving a car, but it provides the rear seat legroom as well as the cargo space that you might want.
Good one, Andrea.
Yeah.
So we hit a roadblock, and then we pushed through the roadblock, and we came up with some solid answers. I think EV9, Tesla Model 3 would be good choices.
EV6.
Sorry, EV6.
Yeah.
Tesla Model 3. Yeah, those are good choices. You can't beat the Model 3, man. The value in that is it's crazy. And you live in the Carolinas, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't get the snow. So Model 3.
I'm thinking Model 3.
And if you have a place to plug it in, go for that.
Yeah. And that's it for us. Thanks for watching. If you want to get a question in, follow along on Instagram at motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning, I put a post out asking for questions. It's only up for a short time. Once we gather our questions, the post is deleted and we start the show.
3, 2, 1, end of show.